Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. In this video, I'm going to go over 7 things that we can start the direct sow in May in Zone 5. Now, this is not a complete list of everything that can grow, but these are some of the most popular things that I myself would grow, and a lot of other people would grow these too. Now, depending on where exactly in Zone 5 you're at, you might be able to sow these a little bit earlier in May, and other people might have to wait till closer to the end of May. First thing on my list is squash. So whether that's a winter squash or a summer squash, we can start to direct sow those in the ground for growing out during the summertime. And to coincide with that, and similar to it, is pumpkins. So pumpkins, similar to squash, we can start to direct sow those seeds outside. The winter squash and pumpkins, they do need quite a bit of room to sprawl out. So make sure you got a good open area where they can go and kind of do their thing without interfering with anything else you might want to be doing. The summer squashes tend to be a lot more compact. They don't sprawl all over the place. So if you're a little bit tighter in space, those might be a good option for you. If you are tighter on space and you want to grow like the winter squashes or the pumpkins, and they're the smaller pumpkins like a pie pumpkin, you can kind of trellis those up so that they grow more vertically versus sprawling out on the ground. Next thing up is melons. Now for me, that's mostly just watermelons, but you could also do cantaloupe and some of the other melons that are out there. Now where I live, I can't grow the giant monstrous watermelons. I have to grow the more like bowling ball sized watermelons. My season just isn't long enough to do those big ones. Now, those are more for the people in, say, zone 7 and 8. But for the rest of us, those little ones, they should work pretty well. And same for like cantaloupe. If you get the cantaloupes in there, you get them started in May, you should have enough growing season to get some harvest before the fall sets in. After that, we got beans. Now, whether it's green beans, yellow beans, or dried beans, May is a good time to get those started, and you may end up doing, like, say, a couple successions of those so that you have a continuous harvest through the season. Well, that's mostly for green beans or fresh eating beans like those. Dried beans, we get them started now. They grow out. They're climbers, so you need some sort of a trellis system. In my case, I'm going to be using my corn for doing that. They climb up. They make all their pods. They dry out, and we pick them at the end of the season. Which brings up another thing we can start growing in May is that we can start to grow our corn. Now, whether it's sweet corn, dent corn, or popcorn, those are all things that we can get started in May. And in the case I've got two sisters type thing with the dried beans, I'll plant like pinto beans after my corn plants get about 6 inches tall, and then they'll be able to start using that as a trellis. Another very popular thing to start in May is cucumbers. Now, it doesn't take a whole lot of cucumbers to fill a family up unless you really love cucumbers. But you get a couple plants start now. They'll need a trellis to grow up also, but you'll start picking those in probably like July if you get them started now. And those are something else that you might want to succession plant, where you plant some now and then maybe you plant some more in June. The next thing that comes up is sweet potatoes. Now, sweet potatoes we don't grow from seed, we grow from slips. But if we get the slips in May, we should have enough warm season to be able to get some sort of a harvest from those. And the more sun you can give them, the better, because they really need that warm temperature from the sun to do their best. Last up is our leafy greens, like lettuce. Now, because we're going to be going in the summer before it gets done harvesting, a lot of those we might want to plant in a spot that gets kind of like a partial shade, where as it gets into the summertime and starts heating up, they have like shade particularly during the afternoon time when it really gets hot outside. If they can have like a good amount of morning sun with afternoon shade, or maybe just a little bit of like late evening sun, that's about the best we can do. Otherwise, we end up having to use like a shade cloth over top of them to help keep them cooler, and that way they taste better. Now there's two ways we can do lettuce simply in the garden when we direct sow. We can do like a high density lettuce planting, where we maybe create some furrows and we just sprinkle the seeds right in there and we don't thin them out. That creates a lot of leaf lettuce that we can kind of use a cut and come again method to keep harvesting over multiple times. Or you can do individual seeds and spread them out for harvesting like full heads. Now some of that might just depend on what variety of lettuce you're growing. I know myself, I have probably like 8 different varieties of packets I can grow, and I'll just kind of mix them up. That way when I cut them, there's a variety of lettuces in there, and I can just make a salad like right from that. Now the last thing we might want to consider starting in May, which is not something we eat directly, and that is starting a new compost pile. By starting compost now and turning it through the summertime, that compost can be finished by the time fall comes around, and we need that compost for topping off our beds. So that's my list. Let me know if you have different things that you'd like to put in for May by leaving a comment down below, and we'll see you on the next one.